Thanks. And my last question is related to the mission you mentioned of using our Guardsmen on the southwest border. Just your perspective, first of all, just for the record, what is the current role that our Guardsmen are serving in the southern border, and your perspectives of the best roles that they could and should be serving in related to southern border? Obviously, steady state, in a perfect world, DHS has got a better strategy and is securing the southern border. And we're often calling up the Guard sort of in an emergency, but we seem to have lots of emergencies. If we were just actually to fix the problem, then maybe we wouldn't need to be continuing to call you all to duty. So what are the best roles? And is it the best use of our Guardsmen to be serving in that capacity, both from a capabilities and talents and then also resources?
Well, I don't know that I can quantify if it's best use, so let me talk about the roles. In the supported and supporting, we are supporting, in this case, DHS as the lead federal agent, not unlike we would support FEMA as lead federal agent in a response if we were providing forces. We have two separate missions that are going in Arizona, primarily focused geographically on the southwest border under different authorities. One is the Joint Counter-Narcotics Task Force, and very clearly defined rules for use of force, as well as authorities under Title 32, federally resourced, posse comitatus, and those people are working with in area and support of the war on drugs, the counter-narcotics piece. Separate and independent, we have a Southwest Border Task Force that was an outgrowth of the 2007 Operation Jumpstart that continues today. Operation Guardian Eye is the name of that. And those roles are unique and distinct, so there's no commingling of your rules for use of force and the rest. In the former, you have Guardsmen uniquely designed to help with support of aviation, rotary wing assets, moving people around, moving Customs and Border Enforcement agents around, not really getting on the pointy end of doing the arresting, but helping with logistics, support, movement, administration, all kinds of things that they need. But ultimately, I think that once DHS says that they are on their feet and ready to go, that's a mission that is very clearly the purview of the Department of Justice and the Department of Homeland Security. Separately, the Southwest Border Mission, big issues there for us are issues like supporting engineering, supporting, again, all of the things with movement of, in this case, Customs Border Patrol is the lead federal agent, moving their forces around, helping them with the logistical piece. As you know, in Arizona, we have nearly 400 miles of border. Only 35 miles of it is private land. The balance of it is federal or state land. So we have a lot of public entities and equities. It's just a lot of ground to cover in relatively unpaved terrain. So rotary wing assets is where we primarily focus in the logistical piece. And because we have large rotary wing assets in the Guard, it's a great place to do that down in southern Arizona.
Thanks. Just one quick follow-up. Is there any role for any ISR assets that are in the Air National Guard as they're doing their training missions for them to actually be communicating and just providing ad hoc support?
I do believe that you get I'd say our greatest strength would be to help Customs and Border Patrol put up more aircraft in the launch and recovery element that we just stood up down at Fort Huachuca as National Guard. We could gain great training benefit to our airmen, hand those aircraft off to trained and qualified enforcement agents so we don't trespass the intel oversight rules on citizens inside this country and let law enforcement agents deal with that. But that would relieve a huge amount of stress on them because, truthfully, having been qualified as a MQ-1 guy, it's much easier to just drive it in a straight line than take off and land. So we do all the takeoff and landings, and they go out and send out. So we could increase capacity significantly in that area. That mission, though, that mission set where we talk about incident awareness, the IAA kind of thing, I think that's a good example of, even in emergency response, your question earlier about the FAA, I think that that's going to be a huge force multiplier and a seam that needs to be explored as to where the statutory limitations are, because as we get ready for wildfire season, I would much prefer to have one of our crews, Guard or DHS, utilizing an overhead asset to prevent something like what happened on Yarnell Hill, where we could have greater situational awareness on changing weather patterns, where the fire is at, those types of things.
Great, thanks. And I look forward to following up. Maybe we can connect with CBP to the integration related to the ISR assets. I think that's a great increased capacity as well, so I look forward to following up with you on that. Okay, well, thank you, everybody.